Okay. Why the countdown is coming? Okay. And we should be live. Testing. Yep, we are live. What's good? What's good, everybody? What is good? Let me turn it down a little bit. What is good, everybody? What is good, everybody? I hope you enjoyed your week. And I hope you can't hear that horn because apparently the parking deck, people keep driving fast around that curve. We got some things to talk about, honestly. I had a hard time trying to find some stories. That's the sad part about higher education. Sometimes might have to get some more subscriptions. That's what it's looking like because I guess my main source is not really providing stories, really, more just irrelevance. And, so, but that has nothing to do with you all. That's more on my side. So hopefully your week was good. Hopefully your weekend is going to be great. And let me do this real quick. Just a little more. And let's get started. So as you can see, I made the topic about why wealthy families still send their kids to college. And I think that's very interesting. That's something I always think about, something I always see. What made me think about that, obviously, if you see the thumbnail, if you had a chance, I know I had threw everything up like right before the 8:15. I was hoping we still made it at 8:15, and we did. But a lot of wealthy families, I say kids, but a lot of wealthy families send their kids to college. And I guess the first part I want to start with is the World Economic Forum. Definitely that struck me when I seen schools at the World Economic Forum, because I didn't think at least I really didn't think no college institutions would be there until I was looking at the pictures, trying to do some research myself. And so I heard a beep. What was that beep? Everything looks normal. Let me open it up. Reject. Okay. And is out of that. All right. So as you can see here, that this is obviously so the World Economic Forum, guys. I remember I was watching a YouTube channel at the time that I discovered the World Economic Forum. I did not find the World Economic Forum on my own because I don't know. I just didn't know how I would find it. So luckily, I got exposure to that. Shout out to YouTube for feeding me that. But yeah. So first starting out, it has nothing to do with this. This is just on the screen. But you got the CEO of Microsoft. But I'm gonna go straight to where I started seeing I believe I saw Harvard, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. That's Canada. And a lot of people, if you are in tune, I know a lot of people actually spoke with someone today at work about what the Prime Minister of Canada / President of Canada had talked about in their speech. But it's where all the World Economic Forum is when world leaders, top companies in the world, or potential rising companies come here to talk literally about the future and how it matters. And then how does it, in a simple, concise way, like how does that not impact higher education, right? Um, Depending on your college, you probably got invited to go to this. If you are at a college that is highly important, very important, like you probably did get invited to one of these to enjoy yourself, meet leaders. It's like a conference. It is a conference, but it's a like high profile conference, something that's like, like I said, it's world leaders. And so let me keep going to find it. As NVIDIA CEO. Okay. They got an AI generated visual installation created by artists and technologists. Y'all see the name? Running Tantrum, which is pretty impressive because they're saying artists and technologists. So I think, not I think, but it's gonna be interesting to start seeing in the future. Um, Artists are going to be pretty much technology people as well. Something to think about real quick. Just thought about that. I was speaking out loud. We getting warmer. Jamie Dimon, President of Singapore. Where are you? There we go. I feel like I passed the instructor already. Hold on. Did I? I'm assuming I didn't, but here goes one. So she has a very hard name. I really don't want to butcher that name, but professor of astronomy and physics at Yale University. So you got Yale University at the World Economic Forum, and this professor is speaking about the universe's most elusive phenomena. Really phenomenon, but phenomena. So that's one. Of course, we'll come back to it. Where's my? Did I? Al, can you bring my water, please? It's on the counter. I can't believe I left that water right there. It's right here. Right here. Water. Cup of water. Cup of water. Uh-huh. Thank you. All right. President Zelensky. Elon. It was one more institution. Let me see. It was one more. We got Yale right there. Where is he? He was in here. I looked him up. I said, oh, that's Trump. Everybody's favorite, Trump. He definitely made a scene, a presence on the stage. Actually, might talk about him for a little bit. Not him, but wealthy families send their kids to college. Where is it? No, it's the Prime Minister of Canada. Maybe he was. Was he? He was in here. Maybe. Wow. I really. Unless they did not take the picture down. I feel like I'm overlooking it. Oh wow. Is he in this? Let me see. There he goes. Okay. So Adam Tooze, director of European Institute at Columbia University. And so we had Columbia and Yale, for example. Of course, I would have to be at that conference to know what universities or institutions were there. but obviously the Ivies were there, and it's interesting to see why the Ivies were there. I don't know what they talked about. I wonder, did they clip his interview? They probably didn't even clip anything with him. That would probably be my job if I was there, because I would have been focused on what he has to say. Because once again, we often feel like higher education is not important. It's something I know I say all the time, but I just got to keep going. Like, we feel higher education is not important because of whatever reason, but you have, for example, this director of European Institute at Columbia University. So you have a dean from Columbia University sitting on a panel with a president of Central Bank, Ken Griffin, a founder and CEO. Ken Griffin is the founder and CEO of Citadel, I believe. You have New York Times speaks with, well, I guess that's the person doing the interview, but I guess they didn't put Christine Lagarde, if I said it right, president of European Central Bank, Ken Griffin, founder and CEO of Citadel. You got Larry Fink, chair and CEO of BlackRock, and intern co-chair of the Economic World Forum, and Adam Tooze, who I just spoke about. How does a how does a director gets to sit on a panel with these prestige individuals? If anybody don't know, BlackRock is how I always say education is always tying into money. And so it's like, how does a director sit next to someone who runs BlackRock? I think that's a valid question, a very interesting question. And BlackRock they own everything, man. And it's just so interesting and fascinating. Like, people say, oh, if you don't have money, I can't talk to you. But this person has, obviously, Adam Tooze. I don't know his level of education, but if he's a director of European Institute, because this is not a typical place that would just hire somebody. He's a historian, so he might have a doctoral for all I know. Let me see. Because he's also a professor. They say he's a director, but he's also probably a professor as well. Yep. Tools. He has books, actually. How a Decade of Financial, Showdown, COVID Shook, The Wages of Destruction. And we can go to Columbia University and see how this leads down to higher education. So, Department of History. Catherine and Shelby Cullum Davis, Professor of History. As you can see, he's well educated. He got his bachelor's in economics, King's College, Cambridge, 1989. I believe that's over here. Let me see. Let me learn something right quick with you all. King's College, Cambridge, or Cambridge King's College. King's College that's in the United Kingdom, in the UK. I believe he's from the UK, but he's a professor at Columbia University. And what people don't know, at least over there in the UK, I can't speak for every country, but in the UK, you can get your bachelor's and go straight to get your doctoral. And some people think they have to go and get a master's like I did. A master's is like a step before doctoral. Why am I mentioning that? Because some people feel like they have to just get their bachelor's, master's, and doctoral. And as you can see, this guy right here literally got his. It's funny he's an historian, but he went to school for economics, which is even interesting. At least they label him a historian. And so it's very interesting because I guess economics ties in with history a lot, which is trending things, which is very interesting. So you can see the courses he teaches. He teaches the Great Recession as history, 2007 and after, capitalism and democracy in the Atlantic world, war in Germany, 1618, 2000 to 2015, philosophy of history, reading German history, the making of global politics, 1914 to 1929. And so he has many other ones, awards and prizes, seminars, publications. So this guy, Adam Tools, that I'm learning about as well, learning the importance of him to be able to sit up here once again with these very wealthy people. Because if anybody don't know Ken Griffin, I believe he was in that scandal with the GameStop meme. Yeah. Yep, that's him. Let me see. He should pop up for that. Yeah, founder. Yeah, because he was part of that GameStop short squeeze controversy and stuff. So if you don't know who Ken Griffin is, you might want to know why, because you probably use Robinhood and all that's tied together. That's all I can leave it at for my financial people. But as you can see, Ken Griffin got him. His net worth is 51.5 billion. What college he went to? Harvard University. These people are at the World Economic Forum with college degrees. Let's keep going. Who else do you want me to do? Larry Fent is a very popular one. Larry Fent. His net worth is only 1.3 only, but 1.3 billion. But Larry Fent, also, where did he go to school? He went to school UCLA, Anderson School of Management. I want to say he went to UCLA. Yeah, he just seems like he went to the UCLA. Duh. But he seemed like he just went to UCLA. And let me see. It's not like it's just easy to see. Yeah, I guess he just went to UCLA. But he got him a billion. We haven't even gotten to their kids yet. If they have kids, which they most likely do, we haven't even got to the kids yet. Who's another one? Remember, this guy, this dean of it, this professor, director that sits at Columbia is sitting with these billionaires because he adds some value to the table. And we live in a time now, most people feel like if you don't have money, where my camera at? If you don't have money, you can't sit down and talk to people and bring a perspective that makes sense, that help people think through things. But I guess that's the whole purpose of that panel, to help break down their perspective. Because the guy we just spoke about, Adam Tooze, he's a what economic? He majored in economics. He got his doctoral in it, and he got his undergraduate degree in it. And I'm actually going to go and look and dig and see how credible he really is to be at Columbia University, and probably snag one of his books and then learn something from him. And that's how you keep learning, and that's how you stay ahead, and that's how you keep, that's how you learn to avoid That's how you learn, yeah, that's how you learn how to avoid student loan debt. That's how you learn how to avoid student loan debt. You follow you follow the wealthy, you see how they do things. You can't do it like them just yet, but you learn how to do it like, okay, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. Then you got to apply it to based on your situation and how you can use what they're saying into your real life. I'm not making this up. And then who else is up here? Name we haven't looked up. I think we looked up everybody. Oh, Christine Lagarde. Not seen, but she is in the UK. She's the Fed Reserve of the UK, or President Central Bank person. Yeah. She's a heavyweight as well. Um, she's pretty wealthy too, having a job like that. But her is mostly where she went to school. Yeah, she went to some schools out there in Paris and stuff. It looks like the Institute of the. Ooh, I do not know how to pronounce that. But as you can see, this school is in France. Yeah. And I don't know what she has. Probably got bachelor's. It's funny because we call it bachelor's degrees all around the world. I believe it's all called bachelor degrees and masters and doctoral. It's like all similar. But yeah, yeah. That's, yeah. But we might can use, because I don't know much about France and everything like that, of course. Should learn, but I don't know much about it, and I don't want to say anything wrong about their education. They probably laugh at our education, but we working on it. So I got Ken Griffin, Larry Fink, which is perfect. It's not too many people. It's only two people we can run through real quick to show you. Hopefully their kids are old enough and they went to college. This is all like live on the spot. So I hope that we can have a breakthrough moment that will help us on this. So let's keep going. I'm gonna start with Ken Griffin because I seen he had 3 children. They say 3 children. So let's do Ken Griffin. Let me see. Ken Griffin. Kids. Oh yeah, his kids are too young. They're like, well, it's a decade later. I don't know why I thought we still was in there. So they should be old enough now. Let's see. Ain't even dig yet. Let's see. Let's see something. A little Google search usually helps. Yeah, no public information. I'm not seeing anything either. So they probably haven't reached that status yet. Okay. Current Griffin. You off the list. So I will move you over here. And then let's see what Larry Fink. Does Larry Fink have kids? Yeah, he has Joshua. So let's see what Joshua. So, all right, prime example, perfect example. So, as I said before, Larry Fink is pretty wealthy. He has $1 billion of a net worth. That's what they show us, but he has $1 billion of a net worth on Google, according to Google. He has a son named Joshua Fink. Is Joshua important? Who is Joshua? So I click on Joshua because funny, the word economic forum pops up again, and his son is a founder and managing partner of Luma Group. I have never heard of it. Don't get me. So Joshua Fink is the founder and managing partner of Luma Group, an investment management firm focused on biotech, medical device companies, and other technologies designed to improve human health and reduce pharmaceutical drug development costs. So, real quick, because because the dad is what, 73? That means his son, they don't have much information. We probably can find school stuff in here though. Perfect. Right here. I'm gonna skip past all this stuff. He has over 20 plus years of experience. But look, his son is also not that one. Where is it? He is a graduate of what? UPenn, University of Pennsylvania. His son went to UPenn. His son went to UPenn. His son is most likely a billionaire, if I looked it up. Multi-millionaire, gazillionaire. Um, Showing you that his dad was very wealthy, but most would say, like, why do you have to go to school? You know, like, why? It's interesting and funny, and it gets me really rowdy because we have people, our generations of families stay the same with one common piece. From my experience, from my background and where I grew up, they didn't go to college. That's just me from a higher education perspective. You learn things in college, real world, on the job, whatever, right? But something about the college that we're not seeing. It seems like college, yeah, you might say, oh, that's just blah, 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 blah. But guys, when you want to do certain things, like, okay, you might have one person who is the CEO and founder, right? That didn't go to college. But that board, when they have that public traded company, everybody on that board went to a college unless they know them again or know that person specifically. But most of the people went to that college or went to a college. I just be baffled by that. Like, the dad is a billionaire, son's probably 100 plus millionaire, no telling. Of course, we don't know this stuff. You cannot go solely off the internet, but it's just to bring back to you that, look, I do see something with another common pattern. They're going to go to a pretty good school. They're going to go to what is perceived the best school. I'm a strong believer. It really does not matter as long as you got fight in you and you're willing to learn. But his son just probably had better connections to students who had wealth when he went to the University of Penn or UPenn, because sometimes it's about, like, now he's a manager partner. He's a founder and manager partner of Luma Group, but now he has access to all these colleagues, all these college friends who were probably partying, playing sports with, and now they're going to him to invest their money in Luma Group. And then now you go down that rabbit hole because I solely just did that. Now I go down that rabbit hole looking like, what is Luma Group? Is that good? Does that help? Like, then I go into my stock market world. I'm showing you how higher education, well, how wealthy families send their kids to college, then how their kids have these companies in the future. And then, as many say today, they're creating a legacy and then generational wealth. That's like generational wealth. And a lot of them do it by sending their kids through college. And so I really wish I knew. And my favorite that I want to do, because it strikes me every day, as in, like, trying to understand, like, it's happening in real time. Trump, like, I feel like in the future we're going to talk about, we have Donald Trump right now in our presence, but besides Donald Trump, I feel like, because the throne will be passed to, of course, we know about Eric Trump, and Eric Trump went to college, actually. Ivanka Trump went to college, I think. Let's see. Ivanka, Tiffany, Donald Trump Jr., and Barry. Sorry, guys. I got long eyelashes. I think something's in my eye. So I feel like I could be wrong. We'll see how this video ages. I feel like we're going to talk about how you got the Rockefellers. I feel like that's how you're gonna talk about the Trumps being 100. And on a higher education perspective, exactly. His son went to that's a high school, right? It's an independent, okay, boarding school. Eric Trump went to Georgetown University. He went to Georgetown University, a highly respected institution for research. Georgetown University. Not even I don't even think Georgetown is considered Ivy. Just I don't even think they're adjacent, but very respected institution. Like they are very respected for their research. I wonder are they on that list as well? Ivanka Trump. Did she go to college? She went to I don't know why they call it the Wharton School of Pennsylvania, but she went to UPenn, unless that's her graduate school or something. She also went to Georgetown University, and I guess went to UPenn, but pretty much she went to UPenn and Georgetown, right? Tiffany Trump, she went to Georgetown University. She actually went to law school. Where her first school was. Apparently, it says she went to UPenn. Their dad has billions. He's the president now, but before that, it was billions. This was all due time. Let's keep going. Donald Trump Jr. And he put them all in the family hustle, as I would like to say, all working within the administration. He also went to UPenn or the Wharton School, but before that, I think that's the only school. Okay, he went to UPenn. I'm just gonna run with Wharton School. Let me see. It's a business school. Where did he go? I'm assuming he went to UPenn for undergraduate, but they're showing the business school. But he went to college as well. He went to college as well. I don't see Donald Trump, as a parent, I don't see him saying my kids don't need to go to school. I don't see him saying my kids don't need to go to school because they don't need to. You still have to go to school to learn the skills. Even though I'm gonna teach you, you still need to go to school. You still need to go to college. I'm just following the blueprint of what multimillionaires and billionaires do. Now, how can I go to these schools, Henry, if I don't have their type of money? How can I go to these schools if I don't have their type of money? That's why you need to understand the importance of bridging from a 2-year to a 4-year under articulation agreement. And then if I go to Barron, the young perceived prodigy of the Trump family, he's at what school he's at? He's at NYU, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know why they have these colleges up here like this. He is currently in his sophomore year, but he's at NYU. And we actually did a live stream with NYU. This live stream wasn't set up like this, but NYU is $100,000 and some dollars per year, if I'm not mistaken. But Barron's in college. And he's doing the Stern School of Business. He's learning business. Even though his dad is perceived to be a business guru, but that's not a coincidence. He sent all his kids to school, to college, and we still say college is not important. We don't need to go to college. I just find it interesting. I don't see Barron going to get no trade. I didn't see none of the Trump kids go and get a trade. But they tell us to get a trade. I just always you see like you know, but we can listen to it. People can listen to it. You can believe that a trade is the way to go. You can believe a trade is the way to go. And I'm a strong believer in the workforce need to be built. And everybody's not a business guru or whatever. But the whole ordeal that we miss in this principle is that you have to understand the education piece that like eventually you want to work toward something of your own. And you want to be able to give back, not just in money, but in back of like education. When you learned in your trade and then you learn how to build your own business through your trade, now you go back and give it back being a professor in college. Like I see plenty of carpentry instructors, HVAC instructors, welding instructors, like who were business owners, that they started out in a trade, you know, then they eventually worked their way into doing business on their own, did that, I guess sold the business, however they do it. And then they slowly, after they do that, they transition to being a professor so they can give knowledge back to kids on how to do it. You know, I'm not in the typical. I think that's why I got kicked off social media. I don't know, off of Instagram. I'm not in the wormhole of you. What I was gonna say? I'm not in a wormhole of like you have to have a business. Is it have a business? How I was gonna say it? Oh, you had to have a business. I was gonna say something. I forgot. I was cooking, but you don't have to have a business. Everybody don't have to have a business and pat like you want to have a generational wealth and legacy pass on, but everybody does not need to be business gurus. I think that's what I was gonna say. Everybody does not have to be business gurus. It just should be fundamental to have a business. Like you don't have to have everybody don't have to have a big business. Some people prefer small business or small business. Like I'm good with my 5 to 10 employees. I'm good with 1 to 3 employees because maybe that's what the business only requires. Every business don't need 100 to 1,000 to 10,000 or more employees. Sometimes don't require that. But I just find it so interesting that like he's literally next up. He's at NYU. Barron is trying to make his way as the next. Well, yeah, apparently he got. Oh, Barron Trump made emergency call in UK. Woman's alleged assault. Hmm. Well, not Barron, but yeah, and then like I said, he's getting like the best of both worlds. He's doing like what I would recommend on a 2 year to 4 year. He's going to college for business, shadowing his dad, which is what most people would probably be doing if they was in college. If you started a 2 year and you plan on being in business, for example, I'm mad my camera is over there because you can't see my hand. But most people they start at you start at 2 year, you like because I used to hear this so much from people. I'm gonna just pull it up on YouTube. I'm gonna just pull it up on YouTube right quick. I'm gonna just pull it up on YouTube, and we're gonna stop at 45 minutes because I still gotta edit and post videos, and I'll get back to doing the what is it called? I don't want to say the name of it. Somebody might take it, but we'll get back to doing our college review at the end. So I'm gonna just play a clip. I know it's gonna be a clip that pops up. So I'm gonna play this one. This just a general search. This ain't even no shot at nobody. It's just a general search. I'm gonna do the one with the most views. So give me a few seconds while I close that out. Since everybody loves shorts. Since everybody loves shorts, nobody likes to watch videos and learn no more. I'm gonna just play this video for you. All right. All right.
There's no need even to have a college degree at all, or even high school. I mean, if somebody graduated from a great university, that may be an indication that they will be capable of great things, but it's not necessarily the case. If you look at, say, people like Bill Gates, Larry Ellison, Steve Jobs, these guys didn't graduate from college. But if you had a chance to hire them, of course, that would be a good idea. There's no need even to have a college.
And I get his perspective. I get his perspective 100% because Elon Musk was part of the PayPal mafia. I get it 100%, 110% of his perspective. But Elon went to college. The only people who should say you don't need to go to college is the people who didn't go to college and became really successful. I can't wait to see what Elon kids do because he got a lot of them apparently. But I hope to see. I'm highly 110% confident that his kids will go to college. I'm highly sure they will. I'm confident. Speaking that positively, saying they will. And so as I go to the next one, let me see right quick. I'm gonna mute this. I'm gonna play a funny one. I'm gonna play Mark Cuban's. You should go to college. You should get a college degree. Then I'm gonna do Steve Harvey next. Then I'm gonna do Mark Cuban's one, and then we're gonna get back to doing what we're doing. Before I do that, what that's our girl Candace right there. I don't know how true that is, but I believe Steve Harvey went to college because he's a part of a fraternity. I believe Q Dolls or something like that. So I didn't understand that clip, but he definitely went to college. Might have been a joke. And then we're gonna listen to Mark Cuban. So Mark Cuban is like you should. I always admire Mark Cuban. He always keeps it real, and I just want to see what he says real quick. And then, because I could do this all day, just looking at these clips of people always talking crazy, and the people who say you don't need a college degree, y'all, I'm taking a shot at y'all. Y'all buy into it and y'all believe it. And these people have degrees, and they telling you you don't need it after they already did it, because your mind shifts after you go to college. Like if you ask me, like I'm gonna be like, you really don't need it because but I wouldn't say that, like, because it's like saying, it's like playing a sport and saying you don't need the fundamentals. That's like the exact thing. It's like saying It's like saying literally, I don't need fundamentals. I can go and do this, and I don't. Yeah, like education just teaches you so much, guys. Like you're naturally going to learn about risk management. You're naturally going to learn about probability. You're naturally, and I'm not talking about math. I'm talking about probability on life choices, risk management on life choices. It could be math, it could be science, it could be life, it could be whatever. At least for my career field in my major, being in the liberal arts and the social science. And so I was having a conversation with a coworker today about that. Gosh, I forgot what country she was from. I would have to ask Al. Al probably have a better idea of narrowing it down for me. But I think it started with an S. And the woman knew my layer because the woman actually, I'm gonna tell the story because this is higher education. So the woman actually went to school for, I think, chemistry, and then cut it right there at chemistry and bachelor's. Did research, working in her home country, but eventually came to the States, transitioned up north after getting her bachelor's, doing some work in her country, came up north, transitioned to America. And, of course, boom, 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 made the way to where I work at and had this conversation today. And then now being a tutor, blah, blah, blah. And now wants to make a career change and pivot to like nursing. I mention this story because now that this student has a degree, this student can pivot to different careers in that instant. If I'm just talking off my head, talking off the dome, now this person can easily start doing the requirements to become a nurse. Most of it might be already completed, but the brain has been trained. Something I believe Mark Cuban is going to say in this clip. If not, I'm going to find it when he says like why college is important. If he doesn't mention it, I'm going to find that clip because it's like a 1 to 2 minute clip of why you should go to college. And that person understood like, oh, like, cause some people like me, I'm not good with numbers. I'm good with the divide and percentages and stuff. But like, if I'm going against other people in the classroom, I'm probably like the weakest one, you know, or second the weakest in that subject when it comes to math, science, and stuff. But you put me in there with words and breaking down scenario, life choices, and how to talk to people and work through things. I'm really good at that based on how I grew up, parenting, how I was parent, and many more. Like that's just my lane with words, liberal arts, organizational leadership, how to be a leader. You can be an interchangeable leader. That's me. So let's see what Mark gonna say. What the, did they really just hit us with an advertisement? What did hold on? I really want to know what's wild. Why are you popping up and we didn't even click on you? And he didn't say it right there. Let me see. Mark Cuban. Let me see if I can find it. Um, Let me see. He says something along the lines. Actually, I'm gonna just say Mark Cuban. Do you need a college degree? I think that's where it's gonna pop up. I used to look this stuff up all the time. All the time. Oh, perfect. Yeah. All right. So this would. All right. So this one, man, humble beginnings, man. This one, Patrick, Patrick David, actually giving me inspiration, man. That I really got to put myself out there more and get these interviews of people who got their college degrees and learn how to interview them and learn how to question them, so that I can bring you like important things and get to the real root of like, yeah, we talk about why you should start at a 2-year in Bristol, 4-year. We're not forgetting about that, but like really bringing on wealthy people who are talking in a positive light about college. And Patrick David and his time before he became the big time media person he is or was, um, this clip, I don't even know if this is his clip or not, but somebody clipped it, but it's definitely his interview. And just like, let's just play it, man. It just, dang, man. So let me see.
Different subject with college. You went to IU, right? Now you got a lot of people that say forget about school. You know,
They're
drop out of
idiots.
school.
They're idiots.
So you think they're idiots?
They're idiots.
Tell me why.
If you're going to have and run a
And real quick, he said he thinks they're idiots. Patrick David, I believe David, Pat David. Forgive me if I said it wrong, but I believe it's Pat David because I am subscribed to him. He didn't go to college. He learned everything on his own. He's like self-taught.
Why?
if you're going to have and run a business, if you don't understand accounting, you're already behind the 8 ball.
Can't you hire a guy that knows how to
But
run
then
accounting?
they still have to communicate to you, right? I mean, there's people that don't understand the concept of, the difference between profits and cash. Your accountant might tell you you're profitable, but your cash is going down, not understanding a breakdown. And when you don't,
You think you need college to learn that?
yeah, I think you do, right? Because it may not, for some people, look, if you're so self-motivated that you can take an online course in accounting and teach yourself everything, you're way ahead of the game anyways. But most people aren't. And I'm not saying you have to go to Indiana. I'm not saying go to an expensive school. I don't care if you go to a community college and take accounting and spend $99 for the class. Just, spending the money forces you to be more obligated to do it.
The most valuable thing I learned here, but I learned a lot, but the most
I don't know why they went to Warren Buffett, but yeah, he said that in that clip. Let me see. The other stuff coming up. So I don't know why that always comes up. I want to say that's it. Let me see. Mark Cuban. I'm gonna say, and I want to play that thing again. This was 10 years ago. Dang, that's crazy, man. Let me see. All right, here we go. This is on his actual y'all see I like when y'all can see what I'll be watching, unless you peek into my brain a little bit. But this is the actual segment we're about to go down real quick again. The other one was on some other channel clipping. This is actual Pat Davis interview 10 years ago with Mark Cuban. I remember watching this interview when it like first came out. Actually, I was heavy into like trying to find information. One of the books I read and still learning business. I feel like I'm not a fast learner. I feel some people might think I learn fast based on my background and everything, but I feel like that's no excuse. I'm still learning myself of this business stuff, and I read books on Mark Cuban, interviews. Yeah. So I'm just gonna start.
To IU, right? Now you got a lot of people that say forget about school. You know, drop out of school.
They're idiots.
So you think they're idiots? Tell me why.
If you're going to have and run a business, if you don't understand accounting, you're already behind the 8 ball.
Can't you hire a guy that knows how to run
But then
accounting?
they still have to communicate to you, right? I mean, there's people that don't understand the concept of, you know, the difference between profits and cash.
Mm-hmm.
You know, oh, your accountant might tell you you're profitable, but your cash is going down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not understanding the breakdown. And when you don't,
you think you need college to learn that?
yeah, I think you do, right? Because it may not, for some people, look, if you're so self-motivated that you can take an online course in accounting and teach yourself everything, you're way ahead of the game anyways. But most people aren't. And I'm not saying you have to go to Indiana. I'm not saying go to an expensive school. I don't care if you go to a community college and take accounting and spend $99 for the class. Just, you know, spending the money forces you to be more obligated to do it. But accounting, finance, lesser extent marketing, sales, if the school offers that, these are all that's the language of business. And so while it's possible to teach yourself these things, and while it's possible to hire them, when you're starting your own company, you don't want to have to spend money hiring an accountant, right? You're already probably going to have to hire a lawyer to set up your well, let me tell you that if you've gone through all these classes, you probably don't have to hire a lawyer to incorporate, right? You can probably figure out yourself. And so your cost of opening up a business drops. But even more important than all that, that's the blocking and tackling. That's the language of business. You know, the thing I learned at Indiana that was more important than anything else, I learned how to learn. And learning became far more important to me, because the one certainty in business is that it's always going to be changing. If you're not always learning, to this minute, if I'm not continuously learning, if I'm not just absorbing as much as I can absorb, someone else is going to kick my ass. Right. So you talk about paranoia. The greatest source of your paranoia should be knowledge. If someone else knows more than you do, and if you're not learning, if you don't know how to learn, if you don't have a thirst for learning and acquiring information, you're SOL.
Do I need to go to school to have that though? So maybe let me restate the question.
Okay.
Here would be the question. The question would be, do I need to get a bachelor's degree? So what you just
I
said,
don't see necessarily you have to have the degree.
okay, fair
Right.
enough.
So
Then
right,
I got
you
it.
have to have the knowledge.
Totally. I totally agree with that. Fair enough. Okay, so let's skip that part and go into a little bit of politics.
So as you can see, Pat David is very anti-college. He feels like college is I'm gonna keep it up there just so yeah, he's like very anti-college. He's very anti-college, man. Like he doesn't think college is he's like, you don't need a bachelor's degree. Like, if I go to college, I might as well finish and get the degree. Like, it's like Mark was kind of just like, yeah, you don't have to get the bachelor's degree, but Mark put it in a perfect example that I tell people, man. You have to learn how to learn. And as a person, like I said, who did not really know how to read or comprehend, like reading and comprehend are two different things. Like they go hand in hand, but they're separate. And so you can read some, but if you can't comprehend it and explain it back to somebody what you read, you know, right there. So you have to learn how to learn, literally learning how to learn is something. We have people who don't know how to, a lot of people in the world, we don't know how to learn. Been there. I felt that. I understand it. That's why I feel like this channel is so important. Like when you're studying, do you know how to study properly? Most people don't know how to study. I didn't know how to study properly until I went to college and got tutors. I get free tutors when I go to college. Go try to get a tutor on your own and see how much it is. Ask the tutor at your college how much they make and say, oh, can you pay for that tutor on your own? That's what you get when you go to college. Those soft skill things that we don't think about. That alone right there just will rest my case. But nobody really understands if they're naturally smart, if naturally intelligent, because you can be naturally intelligent and smart, but you'll lose it in the future if you don't keep reading the books and learning. Everybody can lose it. It's like playing sports. And Mark is like, you just have to have that thirst for learning. Just keep learning. Keep putting yourself out there. Keep learning. Just keep learning. If you want to be in it's like they're tailoring it to business, but a college degree, man, is something invaluable, man. It's something invaluable. It's a reason why it wasn't handed, or it's a reason why it was hindered back in times. It's a reason why certain people had libraries. Everybody didn't have a library. Everybody couldn't go to a library. Books used to be hard to get. We're going to leave it there. We'll be back on Tuesday. And I promise you I will have these videos up. That's a promise. Peace, chicken grease. I'll see you. Hold up. I had the wrong button.